Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And this week we got some really surprising news from the Mega Hobby Expo. But first, a new month means a new Gunpla schedule. But unfortunately, this is significantly less exciting because the only thing we're getting this month is the entry grade Wing Gundam for 1,100 yen, 8 US. We don't have any new official images to look at, but because it is already released in some places, we do know what it does and doesn't come with. We get a Buster Rifle and a shield, but no Beam Saber, and it can kinda transform. So the thing is, the manual doesn't actually say that it can transform, but the Buster Rifle can be connected to the shield, and the shield can be connected to the backpack, which are like the most important parts of the Wing Gundam's transformation. And the shield connecting to the backpack is like purely a transformation thing. Unlike something like the RX-78-2, the shield of the Wing Gundam isn't put on the backpack for storage purposes. But then unfortunately, it lacks a few minor features that it would need for a full transformation. The knees don't bend the way that they should, and those arm claws don't bend down completely. So they committed to the shield, but they couldn't commit to those final finishing touches. But still, it is enough for a passable transformation, and that is honestly everything that I needed for my entry grade. I am very much looking forward to building my own. But now on to those Mega Hobby Expo announcements. And the announcement that really caught me off guard was the announcement of the VAKit MS Senki Geara Doga, which I'm assuming is part of Mega House's variable action line. And this surprised me for a number of reasons. First of all, it's a model kit based on a design by Kazuhisa Kondo, giant skirt armor included, and this would then be the first time that his designs got a model kit, or at least an official plastic model kit. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some resin kits floating around out there. And the second thing that surprised me is that it's a Gundam model kit that is not being released under the Bandai brand, but under the Mega House brand. And sure, Mega House is still part of Bandai, but this isn't something that we see too often. As for the model kit itself then, we only know what we can see in the images. There's no price given, no release date, nor is there a full list of accessories. But we can already tell quite a bit from what we could see at the expo. We are getting two heads, being the standard Geara Doga head and the Geara Doga Kai head, two Sturmfausts, three different guns ranging from small to huge, and two different left hands, being one open one for the smaller guns and one grabby one for the extra grip on the large gun. And unlike standard Gunpla, it also looks like we're going to have very limited articulation. Based on the different prototypes we can see at the expo, only like the head can rotate and the left arm can rotate. Everything else is always in the same position on these different prototypes. So yeah, I also wonder what's gonna become of this. Is it gonna be like a one and done deal? After this, that's it? Or are they gonna give us more Kazuhisa Kondo designs? Or are they maybe also gonna give us some other obscure designs from other Gundam manga? I would never say no to an École de Ciel kit. And as for what to expect in terms of price, the only other VA kits out there at the moment are from Cyber Formula, and they are simple model kits retailing for around 2,000 yen, which is 14 US. So it doesn't sound like this Geara Doga will be too expensive, and it might even be competitively priced when compared to the standard Bandai model kits. Next up then, we've got the Lucrea line, for which we did get a little preview. We knew we were getting a Nyaan and Deux figure, and now we got almost all of their details. They're part of the Lucrea Light line, both of them are in their pilot suits, they go for 8,800 yen, 60 US, and they look pretty much exactly like their anime counterparts. I know this should be a given, but in the not so distant past, we've gotten quite some figures that were missing the mark by quite a significant margin, let's say. The only thing that we don't know then is when these are releasing. And for the future, we can expect to see a lot more Lucrea Light figures, because they've also announced Shallia Bull, Pilot Suit Kira Yamato Freedom version, which had its prototype shown off in an opaque box, so we can only see so much. Then there was also Pilot Suit Athrun Freedom version and Swimsuit Lacus Freedom version. But that is all that we know about these so far. And from the regular Lucrea series, we got all of the details for the Lucrea Mobile Suit Gundam 45th Anniversary x Hatsune Miku, Hatsune Miku x 00 Gundam figure. She's releasing in late September of 2026 for 27,500 yen, 187 US, and we now got a fully painted figure to admire. And this is definitely making this figure look a lot more impressive than the unpainted prototype. A lot of the details really are in the paint job. Moving on to the announcements for the Gundam Girls Generation figures then, where we got the prototype of the Gigi and Lucia swimsuit version, but unfortunately no further details. And just like the Lucrea Light line, we also got some announcements that didn't have a prototype yet. There's Mathilda Nyaan and Cagalli Eula Alpha Pilot Suit version, Freedom version. The higher-ups finally remembered she existed, and I can just hear those Cagalli fans crying tears of joy. But again though, for more details, you're gonna have to wait. So, on to the bunny announcements we go, with a prototype of the B-style Rain Mikamura bunny version. And I gotta say, I really like how they took elements from her trace suit and turned this into a bunny suit, so definitely looking forward to seeing this thing all painted up. Also, the pose is definitely very suggestive. And the second Bunny Girl announcement we got is the B-style Lunamaria Hawk bunny version, Gundam Seed Destiny version. And here again, we get to see some elements of her normal uniform being turned into a bunny outfit. We've got the boots, the skirt, and of course, the entire color scheme. She's now also got some fishnets, and she can be yours in late May for 38,500 yen, 262 US. For something completely different then, we go to the Gundam Military Generation line. At an as of yet undetermined date for an undetermined price, we'll get what I think are the very first figures ever of Gaia, Ortega, and MASH. But for any more details than that, we're gonna have to wait, because just like that Kira Lucrea figure, the Black Tri-Stars are in an opaque box, and we also don't see any of their accessories in there. And another very different figure is simply called FigUnity GQuuuuuX. It features chibi versions of Machu, Nyaan, Shuji, Haro, and Conch going through the new type stuff, but more details are yet to be announced. And finally, they announced Mika and Orga Lookup figures, the line of super deformed figures with an articulated head so that they can always be looking straight at you. And yes, they know exactly what you did. Their release date is yet to be determined, but they'll set you back 4,950 yen a pop, 34 US. And despite all of that figure news coming from the Mega Hobby Expo, there was still more figure news this week, including more Gundam Military Generation news. Until October the 13th, they've got a questionnaire for future GMG releases. Now, you do need to have a Japanese Premium Bandai account to vote in this questionnaire, and you also need a Japanese address, because there is a participation prize you could potentially win that is not optional, so they are going to send that to the address you gave up if you happen to win that. But even if we can't join in on the questionnaire, looking at the questions does give us somewhat of an idea of what might be coming in the future. So the first question is, which character would you like to see next? And the answers for this question are set answers. So we can choose between Bright, Mathilda, Ryu, Hayato, Lala, Mikuve, Haman, or Shallia. So for the time being, it looks like they do want to stick with the original Gundam series. But then in the next questions, they're opening things up because we can give our own answers. And first, they want to know about optional things that we would like for the GMG line. heads of named characters to replace the generic heads, vehicle sets, weapon sets, diorama sets, optional parts, or then just an open option for other things that you can fill in yourself. So we might see some more optional sets in the future for the GMG line. The next two questions then are, which Gundam series would you like to see appearing in the GMG line, and which specific characters would you see to like appearing in the line? So depending on the answers they get here, it sounds like they're definitely open to expanding the line beyond the OG Gundam. I would hope for Zeta Gundam, but because this questionnaire is limited to the Japanese premium Bandai, I guess this means that we'll be getting characters from Gundam Seed in the future, or at the very least Gundam Seed Freedom. And then the final question is, which other series would you like to see turned into a 4-inch action figure series? Or in other words, I guess, which non-Gundam series would you like to see getting Gundam Military Generation-esque action figures? I would kill for some Blue Gender action figures, but I'm probably like one of the 5 people left on the planet who actually cares about Blue Gender, so I'll settle for some Vodoms action figures, please. And then they can of course also release like a ridiculously overpriced Scope Dog to go along with the overpriced action figures. And talking about overpriced, we also got a new premium Bandai Robot Spirits announcement, the Rigdom Zwei Colony Attack Colors, which is of course a remold of the standard Rigdom Zwei. It goes for 8,800 yen, 60 US, and comes with a giant bazooka, a machine gun, parts to store those weapons on the backpack, 2 Sturmfaust with parts to store them on the side skirts, a Sturmfaust firing effect part, a heat saber with both an active and inactive blade, 2 propellant tanks, and a bunch of hand options. And for being a chonky dom, the articulation isn't too shabby either. And this thing can be yours in March. Announced just today then was the MS Mechanical Bust Deluxe RX-0 Unicorn Gundam Unit 3 Phenex. You'll also be able to go for this thing in March, and for 800 yen a pull, 5 US, this golden beast is still somewhat reasonably priced. Just keep in mind that you will need at least 2 pulls to get a completed figure, because there are 3 different sets to collect, being the Unicorn Mode armor parts, the Destroy Mode armor parts, and then the inner frame which is needed to attach those armor parts to. Plus it also has 2 LEDs in it to make the bust that little bit more impressive. And what was also announced just today was the Metal Robot Spirits KA Signature Zeta Plus A1 Test Colors, also known as the Amuro colors. And of course, this is mostly just a recolor of the KA Signature Zeta Plus A1 standard colors, but it doesn't seem to be quite as good of a deal as that one. Because the test colors can be yours in March for 19,800 yen, 135 US, which is the same price as the standard A1, but it only comes with a set of landing gear, parts to transform it into the Wave Rider mode, a spare antenna, 2 beam sabers with beam saber blade effect parts, a beam rifle, a shield, a bunch of hand options, and an action base. So the parts to turn it into the A2, C1, and C2 have now been replaced by just an action base, and those were quite a lot of really cool accessories. Even if those versions weren't supposed to exist in the lore of Gundam Sentinel, it still would have been cool to have some of those included, considering the price that they're still asking for this thing. But to wrap up the figure news then, the Metal Robot Spirits Barb's Loops is getting a rerun in April of 2026. It'll set you back 19,800 yen, 135 US, and is currently up for pre-order at standard Japanese hobby stores because this one isn't a premium Bandai limited figure. What is limited though is all of the new Gunpla that was announced this week, with 2 of those announcements happening just today. The Gundam-based limited figurized standard Lunamaria Hawk and Puru 2 Gundam-based color. Both go for 4,400 yen, 30 US, and are almost identical to their standard releases. The most obvious difference is that their color has now been changed to the typical Gundam-based blue color scheme, but they now also come with an extra marking sticker sheet. So technically speaking, these are a better value than their standard releases. And both of these kits can be yours on the 11th. Limited to Premium Bandai then is the high-grade Gundam Griepe. It is extremely sharp looking with some fantastic proportions and details, but it also comes with an equally fantastic price of 4,510 yen, 31 US. As for the accessories and the gimmicks, we've got the Hyper Mega Particle Launcher, the Beam Lancer with effect part, a nose cone that can act as a shield and hides the Buster Mega Particle Cannon, and it can parts form between Mobile Suit Mode, Mobile Armor Mode, and the in-between Assault Mode. And for this Assault Mode, we're also getting a model kit exclusive feature. The feet can transform into grapple claws. And as a bonus feature, you can also combine it with the other kits from G-Unit to recreate the titular G-Unit from the final battle of the manga. So quite the model kit indeed. And this then means that the only major mobile suit from G Gundam left to get a high grade is the Hydra Gundam. And the question then of course is, what are we gonna get after the Hydra Gundam? Will this be the end of the G unit line, or are they also gonna go for some of the more obscure units like the D unit or the EWAC Leo? And staying with Gundam Wing, on December the 24th, 2 new CDs will be releasing to celebrate 2 Mix's 30th anniversary. First up, for 2,750 yen, 19 US, there is the Gundam Wing 2 Mix digitally remastered CD, which has Just Communication, Rhythm Emotion, White Reflection, and Last Impression on it, as well as some other content that is yet to be announced. And then for 3,323 US, you can get the End of the Endless Waltz CD, which also has Just Communication, Rhythm Emotion, White Reflection, and Last Impression on it, but then new and rearranged versions. Plus, this one also will have more content that is yet to be announced. And related to the Gundam Wing news are the October opening hours of the Gundam Cafe food truck at the life-sized unicorn statue. It'll be open from the 1st until October the 8th, and also every weekend. And from this food truck, you'll be able to get some special Gundam Wing drinks, GQuuuuuX lattes, and other Gundam-themed stuff as well. Meanwhile, on the gaming front then, the thing that immediately caught my attention was the announcement for an upcoming Extreme vs. 2 Infinite Boost and Arsenal-based collaboration for Zeta Gundam's 40th anniversary. The collaboration is called the Zeta Gundam Captured Colors Launching Campaign and involves getting this Titans-colored Zeta Gundam in both Extreme vs. 2 Infinite Boost and Arsenal base. In Infinite Boost, it'll become available as a skin from October the 23rd until November the 11th, and in Arsenal base, it'll become available as its own card. Distribution begins on October the 23rd and only lasts until the 29th. But the week after that, you'll be able to get a Titans version of Camille. So this will run from October the 30th until November the 5th. And having Camille as a member of the Titans is a really interesting idea, because I feel like just having the Zeta Gundam captured is sure, they managed, there's a scenario where they managed to grab the Zeta Gundam. But having Camille as a straight-up Titans pilot seems like he would have had to join of his own volition, because I don't see them capturing the Zeta Gundam with Camille in it, and then Camille being sure, I'll fight alongside you guys willingly. But anyways, having Camille willingly join the Titans might not be as crazy as you might think at first, because think about it. The main reason he joined the AUG in the first place was purely circumstantial. He decked a member of the Titans in the face, got detained as a potential member of the AUG because he decked a member of the Titans in the face, and then when he was set free, ready to go, he roundhouse kicked an MP, so clearly things were not gonna end well for him if he just remained where he was. And then just at that point, the AUG happened to invade the colony, giving him the perfect opportunity to run away and then just tag along with the AUG basically to get away from his problems. And sure, in the anime we hear that Camille wasn't exactly fond of the Titans, but he was seemingly well on his way to becoming a mobile suit pilot, winning a tournament for junior mobile suits. So it's not out of the question for Camille to simply join the Earth Federation forces and then the Titans, simply because they pay well. And of course there's also his dad, who could pull some strings maybe to get him into the Titans. And all we gotta do to achieve this is give the story a little push, like shoving Jared down a flight of stairs. And we got some more news for Arsenal Base, because from September 26th until November 22nd, the Autumn Festival 2025 Card Pack Get campaign is being held. 1 credit costs 100 yen, and for every 10 credits you spend on the game, you will get 1 promotional card, featuring either Aina, Jared, Lady Un, Rondo Mina Sahaku, Alleluia, Alleluia with Marie, Fumina, Mask, Mask with Manny, Mika, Mika with Atra, Suletta, or Suletta with Miorine. In Gundam Battle Operation 2 for the PlayStation, then, the Kahar 2 has joined the fray, while on Steam the Crossbone Gundam X1 Kai has become available, and in SD Gundam G Generation Eternal, the big additions were the Gundam Unicorn and G Gundam Part 2 main stages, which were of course accompanied by some new units like the UR Unicorn Destroy Mode Awakened version, EX version, and UR Benager Lynx, the UR Burning Gundam EX version and UR Domon Kashu, the UR F91 EX version and UR Seabook Arno, and the UR Auto and Nail Argama Londo Bell version supporter. Other things then were a new Fierce Enemy Assault featuring the Shining Gundam in Super Mode and Byerland Custom Unit 2, new stages and event missions for the Eternal Road, and 3,000 free diamonds because the game again managed to become #1 in certain areas. And related to the gaming news then, a collaboration between Gundam and Real Force has been announced, giving us some high quality Gundam inspired keyboards. That will probably also be equally as expensive. But their exact price, as well as their exact release date, is yet to be announced. What we do know is that they will go up for pre-order in late December, which I guess is when we'll also get all of the other details, and that you'll be able to get a GX1 keyboard in the colors of the Zeta Gundam, the Hyakushiki, the new Gundam, and the Sazabi. And you'll also be able to choose between a Japanese key layout or a standard English key layout, seemingly suggesting that these will also become available outside of Japan. In other news then, more D-Point card designs have become available as part of the Gundam and D-Point collaboration, and Bamco is celebrating its 20th anniversary. And as part of these celebrations, they launched a special website, which I will have linked down below, and they also released a promotional image featuring Pac-Man and the RX-78-2, representatives of 2 of their most iconic IPs. Pac-Man for Namco, and the RX-78-2 for Bandai. As for the things you could get this week then, all of the action was happening on September the 27th, with the big ticket item being the Real Great Wing Gundam Zero. It goes for 4,620 yen, 32 US, and it is quite the looker. It's got some pretty hefty proportions, befitting this heavy firepower mobile suit, and especially the wings stood out to me. I don't think I've ever seen them this big. Like, in neutral pose, they're almost reaching the floor, and if you look at the line art, they should barely go beyond the knees. From behind, they look almost comically big, but in action poses, they look really good and impressive, so definitely consider getting an action base to display this thing with. As for the accessories, we've got a shield with pile bunker action, 2 beam sabers with 2 beam saber blade effect parts, and the twin buster rifle that can of course be separated, and also comes with a Real Great exclusive extension mechanism, making this already impressive weapon even more impressive. This thing is definitely going to be an attention grabber on your shelf. Oh, and of course, it can also transform into Neo Bird mode, and it comes with a sheet of marking stickers. And for even more markings, you could get the Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom General Purpose Waterside Decals number 1 and 2. They go for 550 yen a pop for US, and they each come with a variety of markings for both specific machines and also like generic warnings and faction emblems. Number 1 is for the Rising Freedom, Immortal Justice, Gelgook Menace, Gyan Strom, Shiva, Rudra, and Murasame Kai. And number 2 is for the Mighty Strike Freedom, Infinite Justice Type 2, Dual Blitz, Lightning Buster, Cholera, Destiny Gundam Spec 2, and Zeus Silhouette, and the Zagok Gundam Seed Freedom version and Cavalier Aphrit. And then finally on the 27th, Japan got the 5th starter deck for the Gundam card game for 1,650 yen, 11 US. It's called Iron Bloom, and as the name indicates, it features cards from Iron-Blooded Orphans, with cards like the Barbs, the Schwalbe Greys, Mika, and Orga. The deck comes with 50 cards, 10 resource cards, 2 tokens, 1 damage counter sheet, 1 playing sheet, and a bonus pack, and it also features a new color, being purple. For this week's reading material then, there was the November issue of Shonen Sunday Special, in which Gundam Aggressor is being serialized, the November issue of Gundam Ace, in which a bunch of Gundam series are being serialized, the Great Dissection of Zeta Gundam, offering us a thorough analysis of characters and machines from the AU, Titans, and Axis, the 4th and I also believe final volume of Gundam Werewolf, the 5th volume of Gundam Sequel, the 3rd and 4th volume of Gunplander, and we also got some online things, like the English ebook version of Gundam Forward GQuuuuuX edition, which has now become available on Amazon US, UK, Canada, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands, the 29th chapter of The Battle Tales of Flanagan Boone, and chapter 4-1 of Witch from Mercury, Youth Frontier, which features the Ariel, but not just any Ariel, the Ariel motorcycle, because in this universe there are no mobile suits. So instead, again, it's a motorcycle. And, you know, it's a pretty cool looking one at that too. But what I'm wondering about is the shell unit gonna be just like a decoration, or is something actually gonna happen with that? Like maybe it turns into some kind of turbo nitro boost. And then last but not least, the final chapter of Gundam Thunderbolt has appeared in the Big Comic Superior. So of course, we have the Double Zeta Gundam inspired Thunderbolt Gundam on the cover. And as you can tell from the preview images, the entire chapter is drawn in color. The final manga volume then will be releasing around December 19th and 20th, and will be accompanied by 2 special events to celebrate the really final release of Thunderbolt, at least for now. On the 19th, December Sky will be shown in the Shinjuku Piccadilly Cinema, and the author will be there to give a speech. And then on the 20th, there is the Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt series finale celebration, Yasuo Otagaki Fun Meeting, which is held in the, which will be held in the Loft 9 Shibuya. Something tells me that was supposed to be fan meeting instead of fun meeting, but I'm sure that it will be a very fun fan meeting regardless. Tickets to attend in person will cost you 3,850 yen, 26 US, or you can also buy a streaming ticket, which goes for 1,500 yen, 10 US. For the apparel news then, last week we didn't get a lot, but this week is definitely making up for that. Starting off with Strict G and their 2 new Strict G arms collections. First up, the 2025 Fall and Winter Cut and Sewn collection. For 15,400 yen, 105 US, there is a Zaku-styled cut MA1 jacket. For 7,480 yen, 51 US, there's a honeycomb waffle t-shirt in either standard Zaku khaki or char black. And for 6,380 yen, 44 US, you can get a standard t-shirt with those same colors and designs. The MA1 jacket is hitting physical Strict G stores on November the 8th, but these shirts will already be available on October the 4th. And then the second collection is the 2025 Fall and Winter Outer Collection, which will be releasing in physical Strict G stores on October the 18th. For 32,450 yen, 221 US, there is a Zeon Forces M51 parka with removable liner, making it perfect for both fall and winter. And for 29,700 yen, 202 US, you can get a level 7 Mafty jacket, offering great protection against the cold. Bankote, meanwhile, began the week with pre-orders for some acrylic stands, because of course they did. There was the second Double Zeta Gundam lineup, which is available as standard acrylic stands for 1,320 yen, 9 US, or big acrylic stands for 2,750 yen, 19 US, and there was the Gundam Wing Running Deformed series, featuring the main cast as chibi characters running towards somewhere. And for 770 yen a piece, 5 US, you can get them as either an acrylic keychain or an acrylic stand, all of which will be shipping out in November. Next up then, you could gacha for these really cute Gundam Wing bubble can badges. And I really like the concept and the idea behind these, because the badge itself is like a bubble and each of the characters has their own reaction to being trapped inside of one. These are slated for a December release and they go for 550 yen a spin for US. And also releasing in December are these GQuuuuuuX Geara acrylic stand and keychain combo figures. There's 13 different characters to collect, and one random figure will set you back 880 yen, 6 US. And then finally releasing in February are these GQuuuuuuX Xeon necklaces. They go for 7,700 yen, 53 US, and you can get them in 4 different designs based on the color of the character. Shallia has a single yellow band, Xavier has a double red band, Komoli has a double blue band, and Char has a very ornate one. And that has been all for this week's very long Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.